Awesome. There we go. Well, welcome, my friends, to the Cloudy County Community Call for the month of June in the year of 2025. And we have to start being really specific with our dates and stuff because things change so fast. Um, just have to be specific because there's lots of updates like ones you're going to learn about today. This is a community call for land grant universities and extension professionals who just want to learn how to do more stuff with what we used to call modern work. Lately, it's been a lot of AI because there's a lot of AI out there. And so that is actually going to be today's topic. So I don't want people to think we're talking about the same thing every time because I promise we're not. And actually, I did a poll in the meeting chat last month and I said, hey, here's some things we could talk about. What do you want? And those of you that voted, every single person that voted said, we would like a hands-on activity that shows us how to do prompting. So this is your fault. You said you wanted me to do this. So that's what we're going to do. I have an activity lined up for us. It is designed to be interactive. So if you don't mind your voice being on a recording, you can come off mute and talk to us. If you just want to use the chat, you can do that too. But we would love for your active participation in this community. And I'm Dwayne. That's Joe. I should have started there. Joe's an MVP, Microsoft MVP, systems administrator at the University of Florida, Land Grant School. I am a cloud solution architect, used to be a systems administrator at the University of Florida, but I still get to work with land grant schools all over the country. Actually, just got a call with one, which is cool. But yeah, I'm going to take you through today's session because I think Joe's going to be asleep.
Nah,
Which
I'm gonna follow along too. I'll
Oh, okay.
participate. So, one
Okay.
thing, Dwayne, you said, I think that's helpful. Um, we've been taking everyone through all the Microsoft 365 suite of tools. There, we can do this for 2 or 3 years and
Yeah.
not recycle something typically. Um, I think we have done a few AI Copilot related sessions this year and going back to last year. But one, like you said, it is constantly changing, and we think M365 services are constantly changing. This one is changing, I feel like, even faster. Um, and itself has its own little areas to focus on internally using it. I mean, one of those is the changes we'll look at again today, but also aspects of how to use it. It is new. It's brand new. This really is quite brand new compared to the rest of Microsoft 365 space. We don't we don't teach you how to use a word processor anymore. Those kind of things that have been around quite a while. We teach you what are new features in there, but not how to actually word process. So that's the kind of concept here is today is how to do prompting. One of the key
Yeah.
aspects of taking advantage of this.
We're going to have some fun. Normally, we divide the meeting up into a couple of different components, and one of them is what's new. I'm only going to cover one what's new today, but it is a pretty significant what's new, and it's related to our topic. So it's going to be a good seamless transition, I hope. I would love it if everybody on the call would go to office.com. Make sure that you are signed in with your school account. Some of you who may be on the call that are like, well, I've got a government account for my local county. Make sure you're signed in with your university account. Your government account, like your county account, may not have the same features because government installations of Microsoft 365 purposefully run a little behind the commercial space because it's government. So make sure you get signed in with your university account. You are going to see something that looks like this. This is the new office.com. This is the new Microsoft 365 homepage. So if you've never used the Microsoft 365 homepage, then this is all new to you. If you've used it in the past, you'll notice it looks wildly different and it behaves a lot different too. First thing that you'll notice is the first place it took me to was chat. Yeah, Jackie, I agree. Like, what in the world happened here? Where's the waffle? Like, things moved around. So your cheese has been moved. Let's talk about why and how to make you comfortable with it. So this is the new interface. Takes you straight to chat. That's because this is actually called, like this website, if it were an app, which it kind of is, this is called the Microsoft 365 Copilot app. It says it right there. It's an app that runs as a website. It's also an app on your computer too, if you want. So if I shrink this down and you look down here at my taskbar, I have an app down there. Looks like a little Copilot logo. And if I click on it, it looks exactly the same, except now it's its own dedicated window. It's not a, if I open this one behind it, you'll see it's not a like a browser tab like this one is in the back. The app has been my favorite way of using Copilot, honestly, because I'm not as bad as Joe, but I have a lot of browser tabs open. And if like one of the 127 browser tabs is Copilot, I have a hard time like going back to it and finding it. And then I just end up opening another one. And it contributes to more browser tabs being open on my computer. So I actually prefer the app myself. One thing to watch for, however, is if you type in Copilot on your start menu and you see two Copilot apps, you want to make sure that you are using the one that says Microsoft 365. If you're not, you are not using one that protects your data. The other one is just like consumer grade. It's for like people with a Hotmail and stuff like that. It's like Bing. It's just the publicly available stuff. You want to make sure that you're using the one that says Microsoft 365 Copilot. A good way to validate that you're in the right place is this little guy right here. So for those of you who got logged in, here's your first test. And I know Joe's tired, but I'm going to nominate him for a job. He's going to give each of you a gold star emoji reaction, all of your own. For everybody who's already logged in, can hover over that green shield, click the link that says Enterprise Data Protection, and copy paste the website back into the meeting chat. Joe will give you your own personal gold star. People like gold stars. So hover over the shield, copy that link, put it in the chat.
Oh,
You will get a
coming
gold
too
star
fast.
from Joe. Look at that.
They're coming too fast.
All right, Joe. You didn't think you were going to have to do much work today. The reason why this is important is because if you click that link and you take a couple of minutes and read it, it's really, really important. A few things I'll point out that are really, really important. Your data is not used to train the AI. That is not true for other AI services, especially ones that are not business solutions. This one is a business solution. So if you just go to ChatGPT and just ask it to do stuff, you are helping make ChatGPT better because it's learning based on what you're doing with it. The default and the only way that M365 Copilot can work is that doesn't happen. None of the interactions that you have with Copilot are being remembered or used or trained. It does not get better based on how you use it. So that's really important. So if you are in a role where you're teaching your colleagues or you're trying to help them understand, make sure they look for that green shield, make sure they understand this process. Now, let's talk about this whole new UI. Like this is all different, right? The waffle's gone. How do I get to my stuff again? You can still get to search. It's just not the landing module. It's not the home module. You can still get there and you can still do your searches and look for, stuff in your environment. So if you've never used the search experience, it's really good. You should try it. I can always find bacon. I've never worked with a customer. The funny side story, every single time I work with a customer and I'm explaining how the search index works, I have them go to the search box and type in the word bacon. And I have never, ever found a customer that did not have bacon in their environment. So fun fact there. If you wanted to get straight to search, you could do office.com/search. And it will just take you straight to the search. So if you really, really, really wanted to say, I only ever want to go to search, you could make that your like homepage or like a favorite or something, and just go to office.com/search and it will take you to that search module. But if you just go to office.com, this is what you get. Underneath that, you're going to see agents. We talked a little bit about agents. Joe gave you a demo of an agent. I think he used our friends at Penn State as the demo university, because you have a really good public facing knowledge base of all your extension publications. I've got one here on the screen that I've used from Ohio State University. They have Ohio Line, which is a public facing version of all of their publications. And so you can make an agent that like talks to that stuff. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's on our YouTube channel. It was a recording. Underneath that, you can create an agent. So you can click create. I love that in the chat. I didn't think I'd find bacon, but I found 5 pages. I'm telling you, it's like, what is the thing with Kevin Bacon? Like the 6 degrees of bacon or something like that. I think it applies to Microsoft 365 too. Like there's bacon everywhere. I've never not seen it. Um, so you can create your agents. That's similar. But where things start to get different and pretty cool is you have a better conversation history now. So this is a conversation history I was having with an agent that was designed to evaluate an essay using a predefined rubric. So pretty cool. I get all conversations though, and now I have a search box. This is new and very, very nice, because if I had previous conversations where I talked with Copilot about bacon, because sure enough, there's one, I can find those really quickly. And it doesn't just search for that word as like the title of the chat. It's if that chat contained that term. So you have a really powerful search box so you can pick up your conversations where you left off. Because if you're treating Copilot like a collaborator, you have lots of chats with different collaborators. This is the same kind of notion. Like I have different chats about different things with Copilot. I can go back and find them and pick up where I left off. There's also pages. Pages we'll talk about a little bit here in a moment. But that's a way that you can take the stuff that Copilot created and put it on a canvas, like a page, and then edit it, which is nice. There's also create, which is the new creation experience. I say new, it still looks like the old one because I don't have an M365 Copilot license. So this is where you would pick templates and kick off a creation of a document based off of a template. And here is the replacement for our dear old waffle. Apps was actually on the old interface too. It just, everybody clicked the waffle first because it was at the top. So this is really the same as it was. It's just, I think a lot of people didn't notice it. From here, you can expand all apps and you can get to all of the apps that you like to use. And if there's an app that you're like, I'm always using Microsoft Lists because those Teams nerds on that one cloudy show told me about how awesome it was, and so I need to use it. You can just right mouse click on it and say pin, and it will nail it down to this bottom left corner, and it's always there. So the apps that you use a lot, and if you decide you're like, I never use Sway, unpin. So you can kind of keep them pinned how you want. Even though there's no waffle, you can still just pin the apps that you like, and they're quick and easy for you to get to. Okay. Whew, that was a little whirlwind, but that is kind of a rundown of what changed with both the app as well as the website, which is just a web app. And oh, this popped up on my screen. Great timing. This is brand new. If you have a new computer that has a Copilot button on the keyboard, or if you have a regular computer, you can hit the Windows key and the letter C at the same time. So watch what happens. So let me close everything down, and I'm going to hit Windows C on my keyboard. Check out what I got. Like just a little tiny hovering prompt box with direct access to ask Copilot a question. You know, what's the current temperature in Ocala, Florida? So it just does a little hovering window here, and it gives me, it's hot. That's what it tells me. Joe, what did I do? What is this thing? I don't want that.
That is some power toys going on there.
Is it? Why make it go away? Don't know what I did. Okay. Well, we're going to go back to PowerPoint actually, which is abnormal for us because normally we do live demo, but it'll make sense. Trust me. I got to skip the music, so hang tight. All right. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to really rapidly run you through some of the like foundational principles of how to prompt. And then we're going to do our activity together for like the last, maybe 30 minutes or so. Okay. Everybody ready? Let's do it. So what is a prompt? A prompt is how you ask Copilot to do something for you. It is that box that you saw that I popped up. It is the chat box. It is the only thing that you have to influence how Copilot will respond to you. It is the most important thing that you learn how to do if you want to be successful using AI. Being able to ask the question correctly is really valuable because it will influence how well Copilot creates whatever it is you want it to create. A technique that I like to use that's weird, but if anybody remembers the Star Trek movie, was it Voyage Home, where Scotty, they travel back in time and Scotty walks up to the computer and he like picks up the mouse and he's like, computer, like he's trying to talk to the computer. That's what you're going to have to do. You're going to talk to the computer like it's something that can have a conversation with you. So I wrote down here at the bottom left to think about it like you're having a conversation with an assistant. That's a really important distinction because that is not how you talk to Google. You don't talk to Google like it's an assistant. You don't talk to Bing like it's an assistant. You actually use fragmented thoughts. You take your actual question and you break it down into its simplest form of keywords because for like 25 years, we have been conditioned to use a search engine and use keywords that get us close to the thing that has the answer to our question. So I have an example on the screen here side by side that I can cover for you real quick. Let me magnify it for everybody. This is a search engine. I typed in the words format, painter, PowerPoint. You can probably figure out what my actual question was. I was trying to figure out how to use the format painter in PowerPoint because I was trying to copy these gradient colors around to other objects. So what I got was a list of links. You all are very used to this. Like, here's a bunch of websites. Okay, let's figure out which one looks the most reputable. Does it look like it's an ad or is it an actual website? Once I figure that out, I'm going to click on it and then I'm going to read whatever it has to say, which will give me the answer to my question. Now, if you're treating PowerPoint like an assistant, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Let me zoom back in. If you're treating PowerPoint like it's an assistant, and let's say you have an actual assistant, some of you may, I don't run into many people in education that do, unless you're like a dean. If you walk up to your assistant and you're like, hey, format, painter, PowerPoint, they would probably like call 911 or something, like this guy's having a stroke. He needs help. Because that's not how you talk to people. So if you just ask the question, how do I use format, painter, and PowerPoint? Help me understand how to use format, painter, and PowerPoint. With Copilot or Gen AI, I just get the answer. So I get the actual answer. So here's how you do it. Control Shift C, Control Shift V. I can copy and paste formatting from one object to another in PowerPoint. And when our marketing team uses all these, gradient colors, I can copy those to other things that I create. But one important thing to notice is look at the learn more at the bottom, the very first reference. It's support.microsoft.com, which is exactly the same first link that the search engine provided us with. So that actually saved me time. I just got the same answer from the same place. I didn't have to bother clicking on it to read it. It just gave it to me so I could learn how to do the thing and then move on with doing my thing. But now
I like about that process, Dwayne, is does it take a little bit longer to type out that sentence? But
at
you get
first,
the
yeah.
answer quicker than having to scan through a bunch of links. And sometimes, depending on your search engine you're using, perhaps some of them are ads. Sometimes when you're searching for support information, sometimes they're scams. It can reduce, and maybe even improve some security sometimes of not
Oh
having
yeah,
to look through all those links.
absolutely. And we do this a lot of times. We do this in other places too. Like you do it with documents. You open up a document, you hit Control F on your keyboard and you search through the document for the answer to your question. Next time, open the document up in Edge and use Copilot in Edge and just ask a question about the document. Like you can do the same kind of like transformation even at a document level. So quickly, I'm gonna go through two more slides and then you all need to buckle up because I want you to participate because you voted for it. This is a thing called the prompt framework. This is a guide. This is not a like you must prompt this way. This is a idea that you could adopt in a framework that you could follow that will help your prompts be better if you include what we call elements. You may have remembered, back in, school, we talked about like how to write a good news article or something, and you had to include like the who, what, when, where, why, and how, those kinds of like elements. This is similar, right? You can see on my screen, I've got goal, context, source, and expectation. So my goal is what? My context is why do I want AI to do it? The source is where should the AI get the information from? And then the expectation is how should it feed it to me? How should it display it on the screen? You can also take the word expectation and swap in the word formatting. So if I want it formatted in a certain way, I would need to tell Copilot, I want it to be in a table. I want it to be in a bulleted list. I want it divided into the following sections. Those are all expectations that you would set. So here I've got create an agenda to prepare me for a meeting with my manager to discuss my evaluation, which is pretty important. If I just use those two elements, what's it going to come up with? Like it might make up some stuff like here's some really good general advice on conversations you might want to have with your manager, but it doesn't know why or how to get that information. So I'd have to tell it like here's the source I want you to look at. In our case, we're going to do an example with a Teams meeting transcript. So you're going to upload a transcript to Teams. And then expectation, please use simple language so I can get up to speed quickly. I could have easily have said like 5 bullets. Here I want you to make 5 specific bullet points to come up with an agenda. What are the 5 top of mind things I should be talking about with my manager based on work we've been doing together? Also, you can follow up. So if you ask Copilot the first question and you issue your first prompt and you don't get exactly what you want, you can have it do it again, or you can ask it a follow-up question. It has the ability to see the previous prompts and the responses that were issued in that same chat. So as long as you stick to that one chat, you can just keep going back and forth with it. I like to use the term thought partner. Like, let me go back and forth and treat Copilot like a thought partner and bounce ideas off of it. I still talk to each other a lot, but I can't walk down the hallway anymore and annoy him and use him as a thought partner. But I do it online. But if it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, Joe's probably the only other person I know that still be awake. But normally you don't want to do that. So I can just hit Copilot up and say, hey, help me refine this idea. Or I'm trying to come up with a way of saying something and I don't know the right words to use. Or here's an idea. Can you break it down for me? Because I'm about to teach a bunch of 4-H kids about how to do something and I need to simplify this idea. You could get Copilot to do that for you and help you do that. So, all right. There's a link on your screen, aka.ms/prompt remix. If everybody could click that link or go to that website and then download the document that you find. It's just you can download it as a Word document or you can download it as a PDF. It does not matter to me which way you do it. I'll put the link in the chat as well so I can move the slide forward. But aka.ms/prompt remix. You're going to see this option right here for download. Please go ahead and download that. You're just going to put it in your downloads folder. Doesn't really matter. Just get it downloaded to your computer. So I'll give everybody like 15 seconds to do that. Joe, you got anything for 15 seconds?
No, but I'm
Like
getting
I'm
it
awake.
downloaded
That's
too.
what you get.
Follow along.
You get an awake Joe. I'm so proud of you. I can't believe you're on here. I did not expect it. All right. Can somebody give me a thumbs up or let me know in the chat, were you able to successfully get the document downloaded to your computer? Because it's important. It doesn't matter if you do Word or PDF. You can do either one. It really doesn't matter. Copilot doesn't care. It's all text in the end. So, okay, I'm getting lots of thumbs up. So I'm going to assume everybody's pretty good because we're going to have to move forward together with this as a group. So I already got you to go to office.com. You should have Copilot open. So make sure you're in a chat, do a new chat. So you want to start fresh. If you don't know how to do that, there is a top right-hand corner. There's a little blue pad with a pencil on it. That will start a brand new chat. If you've already been talking to it, we want to start fresh. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to use the paperclip or the little plus sign. It looks like a plus sign now because this screenshot is from the older interface. But there's a little plus sign and it will say upload from this device. I want you to click that and then just browse to wherever you downloaded that transcript to. It's probably in your downloads folder. And you're going to attach that Teams meeting transcript to your prompt. Okay, give everybody a second to do that. Now, once you've got it, don't hit enter yet. Just leave it on your screen. And I want you to add this text. I'm going to put it in the chat. It's on the screen too. I want you to add this text. So you should have the attached file. So click plus sign, upload from this device, browse for your downloads folder, and attach either a PDF or Word document, however you downloaded it, doesn't matter. And then you're going to type in what I just wrote in the chat. Generate meeting minutes based on this transcript. So I'll give you all 60 seconds to figure that out. I'm watching my clock because I want to make sure we get through this in an hour. So if anybody's having a problem, say it in the chat or come off mute. This is designed to be a group activity. I lost you. Okay. So you downloaded the transcript, right? From the first link, the aka.ms/prompt remix. Once you have the transcript downloaded, you're going to want to open up office.com to get to Copilot. So that was that thing that I showed at the beginning. So we want to get to Copilot. And then once you're in the chat window and you can chat back and forth with Copilot, you should see a plus sign. And that says add content, I think is what it says. And then you can click where it says upload from this device. So that would be like this right here. Then we want to basically what we want to do is we want to give Copilot the transcript. This is really important. This is something that I tried to think of the most universal, painful, struggling thing in all of EDU, and it was meeting minutes, like getting a summary of a Teams meeting. Sorry. Joe, can you do me a favor and take over real quick? Because I got people in my house. I'm glad you're awake. So hopefully everybody's got that sorted out. They were supposed to call me before they arrived. My dryer died, and it's been really difficult to get a new one delivered to my house.
Yeah.
But just get everybody to the point where you have entered the prompt, you've gotten a result from Copilot, and I want you to talk about it. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Yes, you will choose, Lisa, yes, you'll choose the upload from this device once you have that downloaded. And that will actually move it up into your OneDrive. Something that is fairly new, you can see on the screen right now, it says attach cloud files. So that's something that if the file was already in your OneDrive, is something that we can do now, is select those files from there. Yours says add content. Sure. Yep. That will work. Same thing. Add the content into. Actually, let's see. You said yours says add content. want to make sure that you are in the school or work version. You see that little green shield. Is that correct? You have that showing up. Just make sure of that for yours.
Sorry about that, Joe.
Yep.
Gotta,
We're just working through slight UI differences,
yeah.
which people may be encountering right now.
That's the thing with
And
Copilot. Yeah, that's why screenshots are so scary because I can take a screenshot and then tomorrow it doesn't look like that anymore. But overall, we should be getting to the part where you can upload a file. That's the goal. It might look slightly different, but we want to get the sorry, there else. It's really distracting. We want to get the file fed to AI. Okay, so some of you it actually just generated a file for you to download. So we could also change our prompt a little bit, and that's actually what we're going to do. So don't start a new chat. Just keep going with the same chat that you're already working on, and we're going to start feeding Copilot some updated prompts. We're going to work through those elements that I talked about before, because if we do just generate meeting minutes based on this transcript, we're missing a lot of elements, right? Like we didn't tell it why or how we wanted those meeting minutes to be created. So we're going to update our original prompt. We're going to make it a little bit more refined so that we get a better result from Copilot. So we're going to say, and I'll throw this in the chat, provide a complete and thorough summary of the meeting. So everybody copy that, paste that into the prompt box. And then I want you to look at the differences. So let's see, like some of you, it generated a text file. That stinks. That's not what we were trying to get it to do. We wanted to provide us a summary and show us the summary rather than generate a file that we have to download. So change your prompt. You don't have to start a new chat. You just keep going in the same one because remember, you can follow up. You can collaborate with Copilot. So we're going to say, provide a complete and thorough summary of the meeting. Whoever does that first, tell us what happened. What was the difference? Did you see a difference at all between the first prompt and the second prompt? Because the goal of this is to kind of build on the prompt. Emojis. Yeah. The thing likes emojis.
someone got yeah, icons to sections is great.
A lot more detail. Okay, good. Yeah. That was the only change we made. Can y'all believe that? That right there, I feel like is probably pretty impactful. Like that shows you how much it matters to do good prompting because that's pretty wild. So we're going to go and we're going to add another element. So group thinking, why would you want a summary of a meeting? Like for those of you who have to take meeting minutes, like why are you doing that? That's not a trick question. Just tell me in the chat, like why do you care about a meeting minutes? Action items, assigning tasks. We love to assign tasks to people. Joe and I found that out really early on in our journey of teams. It's for others to reference because I have
I
a
like
poor
that one,
memory.
Daryl. Yeah, memory. Yes, that's excellent.
Okay. Okay. I'll take poor memory. I like that one. Also action items. Okay. So now what I want you to do is in the same box, we're not starting a new chat. We're just going to keep going. We are going to say, this document discussions because we have a poor memory, decisions because we got to remember like what do we decide we were going to do, and action items because somebody is going to do that. So that's a good why. So go ahead and just add that to your prompt and hit enter again, and then just scroll up and down and observe the difference between the output that you got from Copilot the first time, the second time, and now ultimately the third time. And yeah, there was a lot of dialogue in that meeting. Very talkative by some of us. Okay, so Candy got a table. Well, action items, I think, are really good in a table format. I'm not really sure how to interpret Jackie's reaction. I want to say it's probably good, maybe. Okay, actually, more people got action items in a table. That's really good, and we didn't even ask it to do that. It just kind of had a general understanding that if you're tracking tasks, doing it in a table is a pretty good way to visualize it. So it did it for you, but we're gonna update it and we're gonna tell them, yeah, Deborah, that one's, I don't know. That's come. I'm going to use a different transcript in the future. Um, but that was the name of a segment of the call. um, okay, so Lisa got bullet points now. It's been divided. Our next element, we actually already did it. The source, it's already assumed because you uploaded a file. The file is the source. So we don't really need to worry about this one. So you don't have to type this one in. But in the future, just to make the whole picture kind of complete, if you were giving the whole prompt all in one try, you would say, provide a complete, thorough summary of this meeting, document discussions, decision, and action items based on the uploaded transcript, because you've defined that source. But now let's talk about expectations. And if you remember, I said expectations could also be interchangeable with the word formatting, like how do I want this to be done? So I'm going to give you a freebie, but then we're going to break it down a little bit further because you're going to see that if elements had a weight, what's at the end of your prompt has the most weight, and you also spend the most time developing the formatting to set that expectation. So go ahead and add this next part. Format the summary in sections with bold headings. It's kind of already done that, I'm guessing, because you already got emojis and stuff like that, but we're just going to be a little bit more specific. And then I'm going to move on and we're going to add some additional pieces and parts to our expectation. And this is where I'm going to ask you for more input. So if I were having sections, if I wanted to divide this into sections, what are some sections I might want? Like, what are some things that I want displayed in a specific order, and I always want it to look the same way? What are some of those sections that I might create to display certain information? Like, I want to track who was there, for example. Okay, attendees. Yep. And now, like, remember, we had the why. Like, I want you to do it because I want to know action items, decisions, those kinds of things. But now we're telling Copilot, and here's how I want you to show it to me. Here's how I want you to display it for me. So we got attendees. So this would be a sub point that we would use as a part of our element of expectation. The purpose of the meeting. Yep. So meeting purpose. That's a good one. We have a reason that we're there. Deadlines for action items. A summary of the meeting itself. So we had some decisions. If we didn't make any decisions, then don't tell me. Don't make up decisions. Just omit it. And then, yeah, the last one was next actions. Like, what are some things that I have to do next? So I'm going to give you this prompt, this new element. I'm going to put it in the chat. Let me fix my formatting of it real fast. Font size, medium. There we go. So now take that piece and put it into the prompt box and just add that as a new prompt. So we're feeding Copilot the full prompt, but we're feeding it in pieces. It's kind of the goal here. So you can observe the output. And now an interesting thing that's probably happening, and if anybody wants to like share a screenshot or talk about it, please do so. In the beginning, we got pretty different results, like generate meeting minutes based on this transcript. Nah, that's not great. We gave generative AI a lot of to help you refine an idea. At the end of it, you can just say, give me the prompt that would have gotten me here the first try. So the second time you have to do that, you can just issue the prompt and get the final output that you want. Did our recording stop again? No, it didn't. Okay.
I think it's still going. What's great about getting to this final prompt is, and this, I think, importance on the consistency, is one thing we like to talk about is is collaborating and sharing your prompts. Now you've got something that is producing something consistent. Perhaps you work on this with some of your colleagues. There were some great suggestions about some other sections to add. Perhaps you get something that works for your unit, your area, is sharing that so that anytime someone generates this type of information, it's consistent no matter who's doing it.
This is a repeatable process now with a repeatable outcome, right? We can save this prompt to something called the prompt gallery. So if you take the prompt that Copilot gave you, or I'll just give you the original, so I'll throw that in the chat as well. Let me put in a quote box too, so that it's nice and like organized. Make the font size medium. So here's the whole prompt. So if you were to run that whole prompt again, you'll get the whole output. When you run a prompt and it gave you something really good, you're like, I want to keep this because this is awesome. This is exactly what I want. You can hover your mouse over the prompt. So if you scroll up to the blue part where it was your turn typing and you hover over it, you're going to see this little bookmark icon right there. Looks like that. It says save prompt. That will save it to something called the prompt gallery. The prompt gallery you can see at the bottom of your chat box. So if you open up a new chat with Copilot, let me grab a screenshot of that. Let's see here, chat. You're going to see, it says see more, and then I'll throw a screenshot in here for you real quick where it says prompt gallery. It's down here at the bottom. This is how you can get back to your saved prompts. These are the prompts that are worth something. If AI saves you time, and time is money, and you've crafted a really good prompt that makes something take less time in your organization, it's kind of worth money, right? And like monopoly money, but it's valuable. It has value associated with it. And if something is valuable, you should share it with your friends. Like I shared with you this prompt that makes all your meeting transcripts. You can make a transcript. You can make a summary of any meeting. You all now have the ability to go forth and use Copilot Chat to summarize a meeting without having to buy anything or use some sketchy AI service. If you're signing up for Otter and Read and all the other services that you don't have an agreement with your university and that company, this is a better way to do it. So those little bot things create a bit of a problem. I actually forgot to scan our attendance list and see if we had any in here. Looks like we're good. Everybody's good. Thank you.
One tip, real quick, Dwayne, I see on the screen actually, when you're saving your prompts, when you're working with documents, is if you see on Dwayne's screen, actually, the very first part of that sentence of that prompt includes the name of the file. One tip I have is you've got that prompt that you like, is just go start a brand new chat and just paste that prompt in. Don't upload a file. Don't care about that. It's just for the purpose of bookmarking it, saving that prompt. And that makes sure that there's no extra text or content in there.
And Chris had a great question, and I'll actually share my screen in a second and show you the new UI with the prompt gallery. But there is a link right here. And if you save it to your prompt gallery, you can also share it to a team. So everybody in the team now has access to that prompt. Because if you're in a team with your colleagues, you're all probably doing similar work, right? Like we're all kind of have the same goal of whatever the committee was formed for or the department does. You can share a prompt with the whole team so that everybody on the team can automatically see it. Before I share my screen and show you that though, and this may be the fastest I've ever done this activity. So if I went really fast, I'm sorry. I'm looking at my watch. I did it in 23 minutes. That's a speed run. Normally I take a lot longer to do this, but I'm going to give you a little secret. Okay. Everybody ready? I didn't come up with this. I didn't come up with this activity on my own. Copilot came up with this activity. I asked Copilot, like, hey, I want to come up with a good interactive thing that I could do with the audience and teach them how to incrementally build a prompt using the framework and see the difference in the quality of the output of that prompt. I went back and forth with Copilot like a bunch of times. It named this activity. It came up with prompt remix as the name of the activity. It came up with all of the stuff that I put in PowerPoint. All of the speaker notes that are inside of this PowerPoint deck were all created by Copilot. So at the end of that session, I said to Copilot, like, hey, can you just like, let's show you off and show everybody that this is how this activity was created. So I had Copilot recap it and say, yeah, let's break the fourth wall and show everybody we did this together. So I wanted you to see that. And yeah, Daryl, I wonder that too. Like, am I even real? It's like in the Matrix when the kid's like, there is no spoon. I wonder. but but I thought this is a cool example of like assigning that persona of you're my thought partner. You're going to help me come up with an idea and we're going to build something from it. And we did, like you all went through this whole activity with me as a result of me asking Copilot to help me create an activity. So I'm going to stop sharing the PowerPoint and I'm going to share my screen again, even though I have this weird, like whatever these characters are, Joe, I can't tell what it is. It's like in Hebrew or something.
Maybe choose one inside of a
Ooh,
text box.
I exited Power Toys and it went away. Yeah, look at me, problem solving. So I want to talk about that prompt gallery real quick. So when you start off and you're on, let me just close this and start fresh. Sort of. when you're in Copilot and you're on this, you'll see a little box that says see more. And if you scroll down, it gets you to a link here that says prompt gallery. When you click on the prompt gallery, this is how you'll get back to that prompt that you saved. So you'll see Microsoft prompts, which these are just ones that are built for everybody to learn and get ideas on, hey, here's some things that you could use Copilot chat to do. So I could just click on this and it says, help me create a lesson plan. And it's like an ad lib, right? Or a mad lib. Like I'm supposed to fill in these little brackets with something that I want it to do. If I go to your prompts, those are my prompts, I have Star Trek joke as a saved prompt. Tell me a funny joke about Jean-Luc Picard versus Captain Kirk, like in the style of Mortal Kombat, or who knows what you can come up with there. Here's the one that we just did, generate meeting minutes. And this is kind of the point that Joe was talking about, where if I've referenced a file, it actually saves the fact that that file exists and it saves it as an attachment and it will just regenerate a transcript of the same file over and over again. So you might want to use that Mad Lib technique and put like brackets there and make it a placeholder before you share it with a friend. If you want to share it with a friend, if you go to where it says your prompts and you hover over it, there's a share button right here where you can just say copy a link. And if I copy that link, I can now open up Teams, chat with Beverly, paste it in the chat and send it to her. Well, when Beverly receives that chat message, she's like, hey, check out this cool prompt Nestor sent me. She just clicks it and it opens up the web and it auto fills that prompt into the Copilot chat box. So see, it just went boom and it dumped it all in there. So you can give it to other people so that they can run it too. And then when they run it, they can save it. The other option is, and you might have seen it real quick, is I can share a prompt to a team. So if you've already got a team of people, share to team, select the teams that you're a member of. In this case, I could share it to the CAP team and click share. Now, every single other person that is a member of that team, when they go to the prompt gallery, they're going to see team prompts. They can click on team prompts and say, show me all the ones that are related to CAP. It's like, boom, there's one, and they can get it. So you can share it with all of your friends who are already in a team and just give them all access to it. You just need to educate them on how to get to the prompt gallery and how to use the team prompts. But these prompts are valuable. That's the takeaway, is if you spent time engineering a prompt or crafting a really good prompt that does a really cool thing, you should save it, you should share it, and give it to other people because you're going to help them save time too. So hopefully I have helped you all save time on summarizing meetings, or at least seeing you have a tool that can do that. Like you already own it, already there. Have fun. Go forth and summarize meetings. Okay, that's it. We'll stay on the call for a little while. If you want to hang out and you have questions, we don't normally record that part because maybe sometimes people don't want to be on YouTube. And the recording got all jacked up. So I'm not really sure what's actually going to be on YouTube. We'll try to sort it out. But thanks everybody for hanging out with us. We appreciate it.